Hi, Kayan here, and I want to share with you today a process that I really like for creating a series of pieces. And here I have a handful of 6x6 pieces that I created with this process. So I start out with a big old sheet of collaged papers onto a sheet, and then I'm adding marks here. I'm using non-water soluble uh, mediums like a Neocolor One and some Neo Art pastels, oil pastels, anything like that would work. So once I get that done, I cut it all up into pieces, and out of a 18 by 24, I can get 12 6x6 pieces. And then I'm looking at what I can find in those pieces. So one of my favorite things to do is still life. That's not the only thing I use these for, but it is fun to find a still life in these. So like identifying which way's up, what might be a vase, what might be flowers, just kind of whatever they inspire me to be at that point. I'm using a Stabilo pencil or a colored pencil to kind of make those definitions, those choices, so I can kind of remember what I wanted to do on each of them. I think working in a series kind of takes some pressure off because you just kind of quickly go through these pieces. You're not worried about each piece having to turn out perfect because, if one or two fail out of your 12, you've still got a good number of pieces. So I think that's part of the freedom of creating in a series like this. And if you are stumped on one piece, you can just circle back around to it later, and it doesn't interrupt your creative flow to get stumped. You just keep moving to the next piece. So once I've kind of decided what they're going to be, then I'm adding more collage paper on top of that to kind of help define the space and what I think might happen. I use a lot of negative spaces, so here I'm kind of like figuring out this might be a bouquet or something on that the paper that's originally on there. So I'm just adding like a little dish at the bottom, and then with paint I can help define it even further later. To me, this is a much easier approach than just starting with a blank piece of paper, because I'm beginning the process of responding to what's there, and it's kind of like a give and take dance between the surface and myself as the artist. And I really like that. I feel more like it's collaborating with the piece rather than me forcing it to be something. So I really enjoy the process of looking at what's there, responding to that, figuring out what I want to keep and what I don't. So I'm just kind of sketching in some plants here on this piece. It's hard to see, I know, with that pencil. And then I will be ready to bring out the paint and do some negative painting. So you can see that I'm just painting the places, the in-between spaces or the negative spaces. So I've identified some leaves and plants, and those actually will be the original collage papers that were on the sheet to start with. And the paint, then I'm painting around those shapes. I love using a negative space painting because you're left with subject matter that would be really hard to mimic with painting. Like, you just get such a unique look to your artwork this way. So it's one of my favorite techniques. If you want the full process, the full handout on how to create these pieces in a series, that's something that I teach at a workshop, and my top tier patrons, my makers level patrons, also get each month a instructional handout, like a full PDF that they can print out if they would like and use to learn something new, to try a new technique. So this will be the one for the month of August. In August, they will receive a handout for this process, this technique, and so that they can recreate that. So if you want the full instructions, be sure and stop by and get that. There's also just more content in general over on Patreon. So if you're interested in that, pop over there and get those. These are fully illustrated with diagrams and examples and everything you need to be able to create these pieces yourself. These are also available for a single purchase, or will be in August, on Patreon or on Etsy, either one. Going to just add some music now while you watch these take shape. It's kind of fun to see these kind of magically go from what looks like a mess of papers to something that's a cohesive little piece of art. Just circling back through all of these and adding some finishing touches. I'm using a Derwent Inktense pencil. in Payne's Gray. It's one of my favorites, go-tos, and just getting everything kind of touched up, defined, detailed, going back, looking where I need some more paint, and all of that. So just kind of going, I keep circling back around through the pieces, giving them each a turn until we reach completion. Alright, let's take a look at the pieces that I've done here. Excuse my messy desk. I am a messy worker, so there's usually lots of extra things sitting around. But I do have a number of pieces here that are well on their way, at least, if not completed. I have a few pieces that were like those ones that I just stumped me in the moment, so I moved on. And which is, again, the great thing about working in a series, takes some pressure off of each of the pieces. But I still have a lot here that I've gotten at least pretty close to done, if not finished. So pretty happy about that. Feels like a productive time. These are a combination of adding in collage on top of what's already been collaged, and also a lot of mainly negative space painting. I do some other painting as well, but a lot of it is negative space. Okay, so here's some of the 6x6 little panels that I've gone ahead and finished up, and after this I will mount them on some boards and let them sit for a while, and then they'll be ready to frame. So here they are so far though. I haven't named these yet, so I'm going to have to think of some names, but here they are so far. Very fun to do. I've got some more to finish up too, but this is good for now. To totally finish these so that they're ready, like to hang in the gallery wall or to sell as a finished piece, I like to mount them first on a cradled wood panel, and then I'll put them in a floating frame. So I use matte gel medium, my favorite's by Liquitex, and I put a coating of that onto the panel and put the artwork, get the artwork all lined up on there, and then press it down with some heavy books while it dries. So here's some finished pieces. They've been finished, mounted on a wood panel, framed in floating frames, and are ready for the gallery or for your wall at home. And I still have more that I'll do, but these are the ones framed so far. Which one's your favorite? Okay, thanks for watching. That's how I make these little mini masterpieces, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye. Also, just want to mention, may not find these exact ones. They are headed to a Carriage Factory gallery, which you could contact them and purchase through them, certainly. But find similar ones in my Etsy shop coming up, so keep an eye out for those. Thanks.